Madden 19 is hitting store shelves and digital marketplaces everywhere, and we know there are still plenty of players still on the fence about making the purchase. This year brings some new features and options to the series that EA Sports is hoping will improve the game from Madden 18, but are the changes and additions enough to justify dropping the $60 on the game? After going through all the information available as well as our own personal experiences, Sports Gamers Online has put together the 10 things you need to know about Madden 19 before you buy. First up on our list is the fact that the game is back on PC. For the first time in over a decade, Madden makes its way back to PC via EA's Origin service. A fully featured release, fans on the PC will be able to experience the same Madden 19 game as those who buy it on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Up next is the fact that there are no more contracts in Madden Ultimate Team. Now, the bane of every MUT player's existence are contracts. They often got in the way of putting together the best roster possible and just resulted in wasted coins that you grinded to earn. Well, fear not, because EA Sports has finally heard you. Starting with Madden NFL 19, contracts will no longer be part of keeping your team together. Being the moneymaker that MUT already is for EA Sports, it makes sense to remove a quote-unquote feature that left more players tuning out than eager to play. Next, we have MUT Squads versus the CPU. When MUT Squads came to Madden last year, it was only available against other players. It really left players interested nowhere to get better as a team. Madden 19 allows players to team up in MUT Squads to take on the CPU, offering the chance to not only build chemistry with teammates, but earn some rewards as well. It's just another way that Madden is aiming to become an even bigger co-op experience than it ever has. The next thing is a pretty big disappointment, and that's the fact that there's still no run pass option available. It's become prevalent throughout the NFL, but the run pass option continues to be missing from Madden NFL 19. The sad thing is there's not much else to say here other than ask why it still hasn't been implemented yet. It just makes no sense that such a popular scheme isn't represented in the digital football world. The next thing you need to know is that there's a brand new halftime show making its way to Madden 19. For the first time in years, the game's halftime show is getting an overhaul for players. The show will feature a 3D map that players bounce around to view scores or news from various games. Within franchise mode, the halftime show will feature live updates of games happening at the same time, or show you what either happened earlier in the day, or what's to come depending on when your game is. After the updates, you'll then see highlights of your own game. Now, there hasn't been confirmation of how it will work within online franchise yet, but it will be interesting to see how this feature grows later this year and through the coming years. Oh, and the halftime show? That'll also feature WWE commentator and former ESPN anchor Jonathan Coachman this year. Next up are the new player positions in Madden. With so many hybrid positions in the NFL, it's been a head-scratcher as to why Madden hasn't added new positions to the game's depth chart. Well, with Madden 19, we finally have some of those changes. New positions include the power halfback and slot wide receiver on offense, and on the defensive side of the ball, there are 5 new positions in total: rush right defensive end, rush left defensive end, rush defensive tackle, slot linebacker, and slot cornerback. It adds a nice new mix of strategy to how you set up your roster on game day and what players play in what scenarios. Next, you need to know about the new player archetypes. In addition to the new player positions, player archetypes make their way into Madden 19 this year. These archetypes, ranging from a strong arm quarterback to a red zone threat wide receiver, help determine how a player will progress within franchise mode. You still earn XP for players in a number of different scenarios like in-game and practice, but instead of going attribute by attribute to progress a player, you now upgrade the archetype. This will then increase various attributes on a player that relate to that specific archetype. Some of the archetypes by position include a scrambler or West Coast quarterback, an elusive or receiving running back, a utility fullback, a vertical threat tight end, a power or agile offensive lineman, a field general middle linebacker, a pass covering outside linebacker, or man-to-man corner, among others. Next, you need to know about the new controls in Madden 19. The way you control your players in Madden 19 has changed for the better, especially when it comes to running the ball. New to the game this year are advanced one-cut moves, the ability to push the pile in front of you, and carrier hesitation. These changes to the on-field gameplay should produce more realistic plays at the line of scrimmage and help separate the bad runners from the good and the good from the great. Coming up in the penultimate spot is the return of Longshot. After its debut last year, Longshot is back for year 2 in Madden 19. Continuing the story of Devin Wade and Colt Cruz, Longshot Homecoming completely ignores how the first story ended last year. Instead, Wade starts in training camp with the Dallas Cowboys, while Cruz finds himself coaching and focusing on off-field life, all while trying to get one more shot at the NFL. The mode promises more gameplay this time around than the first installment had, but it still is a disappointment that everything you did in the first version of Longshot didn't really matter in any way. And the last thing that you need to know is that custom draft classes are here. Madden 19 will finally allow players to have custom draft classes within franchise mode. Having the potential to draft quote-unquote real prospects in Madden has been missing since NCAA football was last released back in 2013, but that ends with Madden NFL 19. Whether you create your own players or download a draft class from the Madden community, the ability to fully edit any player entering the draft in a given year is a much welcomed addition to the Madden NFL experience. So sports gamers, what feature are you excited about in Madden 19? Have you made a decision about making the purchase yet? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to Sports Gamers Online for more great Madden coverage. And don't forget to hit that bell to be notified every time a new video goes live.